Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are diving back into color grading. We're going to be looking at the short coffee commercial that I put out on my channel last week, and we're going to be looking at the color grade. I primarily just graded the wide shot and then moved on to all of the close-ups and graded them in a very similar way. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I am using my LUTs to get the most out of my Fujifilm cameras using somewhat basic techniques of color correction and kind of adjustments to exposure before the LUT is going to get applied. So that's kind of the purpose of today's video. I am going to then dive into the kind of final, more advanced techniques that I use to really polish off the image. But the hope would be that there's something here for beginners as well as, intermediate people learning DaVinci Resolve, wanting to get the best out of their Fujifilm camera. So if you guys are interested, my LUTs are on sale for Cyber Monday, but I did just want to show you guys how I'm using them in a real project in hopes that it might help you. So if we take this one to start, I'm going to go ahead and turn off all of our nodes here. You guys will see where we started. This was F-Log2, and try to overexpose it as much as possible where I wasn't clipping anything. And so to start, we're just going to use my LUT. This is Meadow LUT A for F-Log2. And naturally, I set the white balance for this LUT for the daylight preset for Fujifilm cameras, primarily in outdoor context. So often when I use it inside, it does look a little warm to start, but it is super easy to correct. So we're just going to move on to the correction node. And if I turn this on, you guys will instantly see the image kind of just looks instantly way better. There's not a ton going on here, but we did bring our offset towards blue. This was correcting the white balance. And so that was before, and then we did bring it towards blue and then bring it down quite a bit. So this starts, I think, closer to up here. I just brought this down. This is because I overexposed this footage, and so I was trying to get it to somewhat of a normal spot. And then from there, I thought the highlights were just a little bit too bright still. So originally these were at 0. I brought them down to -51, just trying to retain as much info in the highlights as possible. And then I did feel like it was looking a little too crunchy, and so I just brought my lift up slightly. So that's all that's going on in the correction node. I think right here, you could be done. And if you want to do anything else, I do sell this product called Meadow Film Effects. That is going to be this last compound node here, if you guys look inside. But basically, that is before, and then after. It's just making the image a little bit softer. I do this on a lot of my footage. And I think if you're a beginner, this is totally where you could end. You don't need to do anything else. I think the image looks great. So we're gonna move on to some more advanced techniques of how I kind of polished off this image. And so first one is just gonna be a vignette. So if you guys turn this on, we'll see kind of before and after, just as kind of sucking our attention towards the center, bringing a lot of this level down on the sides. And if we take a look at this node, there's just one main vignette in the middle, and did flip the orientation there and then just brought the gain down. So 0.79, that is what's sucking in our image. And these final two, these are interesting. So if we turn them off, that is where we were. I felt like we were losing a little too much level on this practical over here as well as here in the background. So I wanted to save some of that. So basically I made another circle power window and I did the invert feature here, and this basically tells it to not make the correction that's happening on this other power window that we put in the center. So before and then after, you guys will see just saving the level up here. I think it looks a lot more realistic, and then same things going on, just bringing a little level back to the top of the frame right here. And so again, here is before and then after, before and then after. I think it really just helps. And the final things are really small, so we're gonna move on to the light down here. This was the same idea. I brought the gain up slightly and warmed up the gamma, made a power window, and then used the curve feature to kind of keep it off the plants with the invert. And so you guys will see here before and then after. I just thought this looked really good. I did want to add a little bit more warmth into the practical. It was hard to dial in when we were shooting it, but there's before and after. And the final thing was something I had actually never done before, and it was actually brightening up this area of the bag. And so if you look at the next shot, the label is much more white here, and so I wanted these to match as much as possible. So this is a lot more warm. That's because the light was farther away and it's primarily being lit by this practical. So if you guys come in here, this is just a power window. I did a little bit of qualification just to kind of pull on that info, and then I am basically desaturating it and then pumping up the gain. So you guys will see here, if I turn this off, before and then after, before and then after. And then because this actually dropped into frame, this is something I hadn't done before, but I did use the tracker. And so I flipped it to frame mode, which allows you to change the tracking with each frame. So you guys will see my keyframes down here. But basically I just tracked and adjusted the power window as I went, just because otherwise this would look yellow when it dropped into frame. So again, a little bit advanced, but that is how we did it. So here's before and then after, before and then after. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this video helped you in some way, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.